Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to this week's edition of the Digital Shop Talk Radio. I'm Tom Dorsey, and today we got a great show for you. We're going to be talking about how to optimize those build hours per ticket. And I've brought on a fantastic guest, maybe having a little audio issues, but we're going to work around that. We're going to wait for them to hand crank better internet up to Auburn, California. Joining us from Auburn, Euro Motors, Christoph Schopfer. Welcome, Christoph.
Hey, how's it going, Tom?
Good, buddy. Good to see you. Yeah, and you know, if you're having an internet connection, it keeps dropping off for you, Christoph. If you could just dial in on your cell phone, the links in there in your Zoom invite, and then we'll get solid audio with you, and we don't have to worry about. Everybody knows how beautiful you are already, buddy. I got a great picture of you back here behind me, and but we'd love to see you if we can make it work. And also joining us, of course, as always, our founder and CIO, Uwe Kleinschmidt. Welcome, Uwe.
Thank you. I can't wait to.
Yeah. We've been jamming.
The numbers are so impressive. Christoph is putting up.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And really appreciate, like I was saying, Christoph, the preparation that you gave for us. Kind of going through some of this show summary. Because really what we want to talk about, what we want to offer to the folks listening and that will be listening to this episode is not just some ideas and some best practices, but some really specific action items that can take me to the next level. And, you know, you at Auburn Euro Motors, you guys really have, I think, nailed it, right? From the adoption of Auto Vitals and the implementation of Auto Vitals, and then to see, gosh, we had you at a conference and looking at that first successful year. And then now through, I think you've recently done a point of sale change. You've had, everybody's been struggling through this pandemic and those types of things affecting your business, but still nailing the best practices and staying strong. How has the last year been treating you, buddy? Give us an update on your shop.
So, you guys hearing me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, cool. I had everything all set up, and then, right before we went live, the internet just decided to go out.
No, that stuff happens in the mountains.
Yeah, and I'm at home, so I got my 2-year-old over there, so just a heads up.
Oh, that's great.
So, anyway, so 2020. Sorry. What? Yeah. Yeah.
Double duty.
I'm sorry. Yeah. He didn't need me all day, and I knew right when the meeting would start. So 2020. So basically, April, May was tough, just like it was for everybody. My dad and I were just kind of on semi-cruise control. The shop was running really well. And then COVID happened, and we had to basically roll up our sleeves and, get to work on the business. I'll rewind a little bit to 2019. We live in an area in California, Northern California, where the power goes out because of fires.
Oh, wow.
And that was a really eye opener for us. We didn't want to just sit back and be like, oh, we can't open. We had to, get generators. We prepped the whole shop so we can be open. We just didn't accept the fact that, we just can't throw our hands up. So fast forward to the pandemic, and we got to a point. Cormac, don't play with this, please. Okay. 2020, the pandemic happened, and everything shut down. We got to a point where it was just me and one of my technicians. And like I said, my dad and I really worked on the business. We took that up. We took it as an opportunity. We've got Auto Vitals website. Okay, it's over here. Can you come over here, please? I'm busy. I apologize.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, last time we had you on, you were running on generators. We had you on the show.
I think so. I think I was running generators when we were on the show.
The shop was open on generators.
Yes. Cormac, can you stop?
That's what it takes right there. Is just
okay. Go put a lid on it, please.
No quitting this boy. He's a multitasker.
Yeah.
This is, yeah. Let
That's
me get
that's
my
not
son
that's
a
that's
lid.
not what
Just do
that's not
laps.
what men are famous for, right? Multitasking. So
Give me 1 minute.
No, you're fine. You're fine. We'll talk a
Um,
little bit. We'll just give a little bit of insight on what we're going to be covering
Okay.
when you get back. So Uva, if
Okay.
you
It's, yeah, I'm just, my son decided
could, Uva,
to
kick us off a
take
little
this.
because we were talking about before the show, kind of the topic, is how do we maximize build hours per inspection? There's so many variables that go into that. And really, we wanted to do it broken down. And Christoph was awesome to provide that information, really kind of defined by workflow step. How do you see it, Uva, as, and especially from a development perspective, the critical success factors to driving that approval rate and higher hours, average hours per ticket through those different workflow steps? What are kind of the most critical, and what are the most critical best practices at each step?
I had hoped Christoph is going to tell us the details,
Yes.
but overall, I would say I don't think there is a more important workflow step than another. It's kind of a smooth process where when you pay attention in every workflow step and do the right thing in every workflow step and make the workflow itself a second nature muscle memory of the service advisor or production manager or whoever is running the production. The rest is kind of, muscle memory.
In training,
And
right? And
it's
also,
it's fundamentals, right? It's fundamentals in sports, the same thing.
yeah.
Once you
Yeah.
buy into the workflow, you just, split up the workflow steps you need in your shop and then say for every workflow step, what's the important thing to do?
So
And
Christoph, how did you train those fundamentals into your crew? Because like I said,
Yeah.
we had you on last time. You guys were just coming out of your first year, I think, of adoption, and you guys were cranking. I think at that time you were probably running closer to 6 build hours per ticket, and right around $900,000 ARO, kind of at the peak right before COVID.
Yeah. So apologize for the distractions, but I think I got it handled. So basically, yeah. So after COVID hit, we just really focused on the business. And like I said, just like with the power outages, it was an opportunity for us to grow. We took that slow time to really even further perfect our systems and our, the way we do things. So the biggest thing that we changed this summer was honestly, we did more marketing and we prepped ourselves for more car inflow. I think in July we were booked out a couple weeks. We didn't really change how we were doing anything with auto vitals until later in the year, October, November. As you see, when our stats went down. So that's kind of where we made some changes with how we were, using auto vitals, because we changed our POS software, and basically we took a closer look at our inspection and how we were sending it to the customer. And my 2 service advisors, we took them down to the conference back in January last year. And when we got back, they got to see really how other shops were, using auto vitals, because, I talk to other shop owners and I see how they're doing it. And, I have to constantly, tell my service advisors, this is the way I want it done, or you're doing this part really great. And for the most part, they're both very amazing at utilizing, auto vitals. But I think that conference was really an eye opener for them, seeing how the other shops were doing it. And honestly, I mean, I told them how I want, the technicians to, how many pictures I wanted and everything. And Uwe was saying, he was speaking of muscle memory. me, it's just, practice. You just keep doing it the way you want to do it. And even though we've been doing it for a couple years, we still just keep doing the same thing over and over. And it's practice makes perfect. So once you get one thing handled, then you move on to the next. It's not an overnight, like, oh, I want, my 300-second motorist research time. It was a process. Once we hit that, then we went to the next thing. And it was just, you see what works and what's successful, and what other shops are doing and where they're finding success. And you just try to copy that, if that makes sense. It's one thing at a time. So
yeah, no doubt about it. And so what would you say, so from a fundamentals perspective, right? Because you're right, the 300-second motorist research time doesn't happen overnight. It happens because you are doing more consistent inspections. Your technicians are hitting, a number of recommendations per action, per ticket goal. Your service writers are editing the amount of pictures that you have asked them to do. The techs are taking the amount of pictures that you've asked them to do. That's the culmination. That's the result of those best practices. What would you say if you had to tell somebody who just signed up yesterday and they're going to get started on this? What would you say they need to focus on from that fundamentals perspective?
I would say the number one thing to focus on, and I've said this in the past, is make your own inspection, make it tailored to your shop, and make it only send customers a good inspection. Don't send them something that doesn't make sense. Utilize the tools like that's an easy thing. Well, it sounds easy, but it takes the owner a lot of time, or manager a lot of time, to create that inspection. But the payoff is huge. That would be number one. And I tell everyone that is struggling with auto vitals or new to auto vitals, that's, once you get that dialed, everything else is easier.
Can we, if I may, can we go to the next level of detail, Christoph? Because as you know, in hindsight, everything, as you said, is easy. But when you have to start with it, when do you know it's not working, and when do you know it will be working, right? Are those critical things, because we're not in a sandbox. This is real life, real business, real customers. So could you break down a little bit for us? When did you know what the right thing was, and how did your guys jump on board and bought into it?
So that's a tough one. So we're still constantly perfecting it and working on it. How I knew was the right time, I would probably say when we really started seeing, the fruits of our labor as far as average RO is concerned, it was probably about a year ago, about a month before March. It was January, February. We saw motorist research time just start to go up. I would say the number one thing is, I just said, like a solid inspection sent to the customer. But
how did you know it was solid? Did you ask your customers, or did you guys put yourself in motorist shoes and had shop meetings? How did you know it's the right thing?
So I started having customers more so say, like, this is awesome what you guys are doing, this is amazing, we love the inspections. And we were seeing a high volume of returning new customers we still are. And I probably attribute it to the only thing we really changed was really getting our digital inspections dialed, and everyone on the same page at the shop, the technicians, the service advisors. We did put ourselves in the motorist shoes. I was constantly trying to make it as simple as possible. Things can get complex. People like to complicate things, and I always like to make things simple. So basically, we use the software Auto Vitals for I wrote it down here, and I'm still to this day, I still, you know, people will deviate. I still gotta rewind, come back, and, you know, tell my service advisors, you know, and my technicians, what's the problem with the vehicle? What's the solution? And what's the benefit to the customer? Those three things, you know. We can go down this rabbit hole of like the repair, but really the customer wants to know what we found, what's the solution, why should they fix it? Why do they need to do their maintenance? And that's key. If you can just focus on that, I think everything else is, yeah, there's a lot of complexity to the software, to any software that you use. And you need to really learn it. The owner needs to learn it. The manager, the implementer, whoever that may be, needs to know the software better than the people using it. You know, I don't edit the inspections. My service advisors do it. They're very good at it. But I had to know how to do it so I can show them. Does that make sense?
Of course.
Yep.
So I don't know if there was a time. I don't think there was one single thing that we did when we knew, to answer your question, what was working and what wasn't working. But I can tell you it was about a year ago when, like I said, we were seeing high volume of return new customers and a lot of customers telling us how much they love the digital inspection. And that right there was, I think, the
Christoph,
turning point.
real quick, I got a couple questions from the audience to cover. And the first one is, and they kind of go together, with customers making appointments at Dropoff and dropping off your vehicle, have you modified your drop-off conversation for a phone
Yes.
conversation versus a counter conversation? What is
Yes.
what are those?
So at Drop-Off, my service advisors really set the tone with exactly what's going to happen. We explained to them about the inspection they're going to get. I know for a fact that motorist research time equals higher RO. So let's get the motorist research time up. So let's, you know, we explain to the customer that they're going to receive the digital inspection. You know, we tell them we spent some time with them saying what it's going to look like, you know, your red, your yellows, your greens, what they mean. And we tell them, look at it, spend some time looking at it, and then give us a call. And I would probably say 80% of the time, I'd have to ask my service advisors, but I would probably say 80% of the time, the customer gives us a call after looking at it for however long. But if they know what they're going to get, what they look at, that helps. When we first started, I had a binder and I actually took a really good digital inspection and I printed it and I laminated the pages and we would show the customer, this is what it's going to look like, but it's going to be on your phone or in your email. We don't really use that anymore, but for someone new to it, I would highly suggest doing that. So the customer, so you can explain to them, but like I said, we don't really use that anymore, but it really needs to be explained to the customer. If they just get a text and they don't know what it is, they're not gonna open it, they're not gonna look at it. So
yeah, and you know, doing the binder thing or doing the laminated picture, the reason that really works is because that helps you to develop that muscle memory. It's sitting there on the counter and then they know they have to talk about it. And so then it triggers that conversation, and then over time it builds that habit. And then, yeah, you can probably remove it away because why? And you could show that in different ways. You can email or text an example to somebody. You can create a video of you describing the process, right? Which is a great idea for those of you that don't have that, because then you can just, as an autoresponder, send that video off to a customer and they say, oh, look at all this stuff. And in preparation of your first conversation. Now, there's a lot less questions. They've seen the process. They've seen what the inspection looks like. They're excited. They want to hear the whole story about their vehicle, and they're prepared to answer the important questions and ask the important questions, right? So something to consider. That's a fantastic point, Christoph. And, you know, you said something also about, you know, when you're first getting started, kind of almost constantly auditing, and then over time you kind of, I don't want to say relax, but you don't have to put in as much time from an auditing perspective. Is that because your team, like you said, your service writers are auditing the inspections now, they're taking on more of that responsibility? Or is it just, you've gotten your process so dialed in and they're making less mistakes and they're straying outside of the boundaries less?
Yeah. So they still, I mean, my service advisors spend a little more time fixing the ROs that we get back from the technicians than I would, they would probably like. So I'm more work with the technicians to make sure it needs less editing for the service advisors. It's still going to need some. And then, yeah, it's hard in the beginning, but then it gets, yeah, yes, I will. One minute. So like now a technician might say, I think everything's dialed, but they might say like, hey, can you add, not applicable under transfer case or something, little stuff like that. And I'll just do it. They'll send me a note, needs to be in writing. So it gets done. And I'll just fix that. I just fix it right then and there. Or that same day, so that the next time they do and it's just little stuff like that. And I probably say once a week, I still to this day, I have a technician, they'll come to me like, hey, can we add this, or can we take this away? Or, yeah, so.
A, because they're engaged, and B, because, it improves so they have direct kind of ownership of improving the process and improving the inspection sheet. And I mean, you really can't ask for anything better than that. Uwe, do you got any follow-ups for Christoph?
Yeah, I would love to go into details more, because look, I'm looking at your numbers and I'm in awe about the hours hours per RO. And what we have been talking about so far is really our, how should I say it, the fundamentals we really teach every shop, or trying to. There has to be a secret sauce how you get to 5 hours per RO.
So yesterday I was telling my wife, I'm going to do this show, and she's like, well, what are they going to ask? They want to know why we have a hype. And she's like, well, how do you have that? And I was like, that's a good question. I should probably think about that. So I wrote it down. Basically, I don't want to say we're cheating a little bit, but we are a European shop. So inherently, we do less cars with a higher ticket. A. B, I would probably say the number one thing is to have good service advisors that buy into your vision. My vision is, amazing customer service, number one. And number two is we tell our customers everything. So 100% transparency. It sucks, especially if you have a new customer and it's a $4,000 Audi. The car's worth $4,000, and the first time in, we might find $8,000 worth of work. That's rare, but it does happen. But it's not our job to withhold anything from the customer. We need to tell them everything. I'm constantly, every day almost, I feel like we didn't buy it, we didn't build it, we didn't break it. Right. You can ask my service advisors. I say it all the time. That's key. I mean, and then circling back, it's not our job as shop owners to withhold anything from the customer because we're afraid. Am I trying to sell them everything? No. On a new customer, we'll prioritize it. We'll break it down for them, to get their car back on the road. And 99% of the time, they love it. Our customers love it. They love the honesty. People love the honesty. That was one thing I did. The second thing, trust your team. Trust they're doing everything that they can be. In the beginning, I did go in and I would spot check, or I very rarely do that now. And spot check inspections. get your inspections dialed, make your own inspection, tell customers everything. You'd be surprised what customers are willing to put into their vehicles. I was just talking with one of my service advisors yesterday. I mean, I have customers, they'll put $10,000 a year into a car that's not even worth that. You can't look at it that way. You can't look at the car's worth. People love their car. I'm in California, and in less than 15 years, they're going to stop selling. There's been a ban on internal combustion engines, gas cars. So people are going to be forced to keep their gas car as long as possible. It's going to be amazing for us.
We will see.
Once
about
again,
that.
yeah.
There you have it.
I'm really excited because people will go that it could be, the car could not be worth anything, and they're going to want to keep their gas car. So
Right.
That's gonna be like Cuba, right? It's gonna be like Cuba, where there'll be
you don't have a choice.
fender repairs in the garage.
Yeah. And then
Man.
the other, I would probably say the last thing as far as getting a high hours per ticket is you fix the system, and we've been doing that since before Auto Vitals. And most Auto Vital shops are going to be doing this, because I would say most Auto Vital shops are higher level as far as how they treat their customers and how they fix vehicles. But I'm sure everyone would agree with me, a radiator leaks, you do the hoses as well. You take a picture of them, they look old. The customer's always going to fix the system. They're going to trust your judgment. I'm a firm believer in fixing the system. That's how I repair my vehicle. I'm going to do everything when I'm in there.
Yeah.
And it needs to be sold to the customer that way. And then once again, it just really comes down to your team. Have a great team, work with your team every day, listen to them, help them when they have questions with software, figure out, even if you don't have a solution, figure out a solution, just make it as easy as possible for your team, and keep them all working together.
So do you do daily shop meetings, or is it weekly, or is lunch kind of everybody comes together? How does it work?
Yeah, so we do a meeting every single morning when everyone gets there, probably around 8:30. One of my service advisors runs the meeting. We tell the technicians what's coming in, even if they're not. We tell them all the cars coming in so that they can prepare. Like, say we have a Sprinter van, we only have one lift to lift those. They need to know when it's coming in, so they can not. It's also our alignment rack, so we can. At the end of the service advisor does all the dispatching, so that there's no conflict. But sometimes involving the technicians in what's going on really helps. We also take that time to, like I said earlier, if anyone has a problem with the software, or they want me to add or take something out or rearrange something, they'll usually tell me during the meeting. That's every single day. We also do a weekly longer meeting in my office every Tuesday. So
I see.
So yes, we do daily meetings.
And when did you introduce them? Did you see a change after you introduced it, or can you not remember because you have been doing this all along?
We've been doing it for a long time, so I don't remember. I will say that morning meetings dropped out probably around August for a couple weeks. And you see a difference in the numbers. So I just try to reiterate every week, let's do the morning meeting, and then they just become habit.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Bill's asking, during the morning meetings, do you ask everybody what their daily goals are, and if any of the repair orders might block them from obtaining it? And also, do you set it up on the Today's Vehicle page where those goals are highly visible?
that is a good question. Usually my technicians will tell me if they think they're going to run into problems on certain vehicles. And then, but I do not have them set goals. That's a really good idea. I should write that down. No, we don't. I mean, the service advisors tell them which cars we would like to get done, you know, because they're the ones that talk to the customer and they know what needs to get done. So the service advisors do set goals, but as far as the technicians, no, I don't have them set goals for themselves
Yet.
yet. Yes.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay, so the summary is really, you do constant improvement. You're never done.
Never stop.
Right? So you never
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah, you never stop. And when we have stopped, that's when things go south. The more attention you put on your business, the better it will run. Constantly educating myself and doing training constantly. I am. And I'm a little bummed that we couldn't do, or you guys couldn't do I know you did the digital shop conference, but
Right.
I'm looking forward to having it in person again. That was a huge benefit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's all the side conversations that you can get into and experiences that you get from other attendees, you know, that makes it so valuable and such a great learning experience and
Yeah.
teaching experience, right? Because you get to give knowledge and help and information and get some in return. And that's what makes it, you know, such a great collaborative effort. And yeah, we miss it. We miss it a lot. You know, hopefully, you know, it's coming back soon.
Yeah. And you know, just like you said, Uwe, it's constantly helping your service advisors and being there for them. I try to be present as much as possible. I know a lot of owners want more freedom, but the more attention you give to your team, the better, you know, in my opinion, the better they're gonna perform. The more support you give them. And
But it looks like you empower them, you know, tremendously. So it's not seen as, hey, my boss is looking over my shoulder constantly.
Yeah.
I can actually go back to him and ask tons of questions. And for some, that's a pride issue, right? So they want to be self-starting and do their own thing. That was never the case with you.
So yeah, I mean, no, my service advisors, I mean, they don't really need me, but I am
And they
there.
know it, and they know it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Obsolescence.
I'll tell you right now, like if I were walking the shop, I know kind of the big picture, what's going on, but I'll do quality controls on the cars, and you know, I see the car come in, and then the car's done. I don't know what we did on it. You know,
Right.
They do everything. They, you know, it's every now and then a customer will want to, you know, I love engaging with the customers, but it's funny. Sometimes they'll come in and they'll be talking to me about their repair and I have no idea what we did to their car. It's like, yeah, so, I really trust my service advisors. They, you know, they're very self-sufficient, but, like I said, they don't need me, but they do, when they have questions or anything, I'm there for them. I'm ready to answer any question they might have, and I'm constantly helping them with, you know, I probably interject more than they want me to, you know, on certain, you know, weird problems that we might be facing on a car, but yeah.
I have a question about, you wrote that in your notes and also the numbers reflect that, right? When you introduce a new system, in your case, it was just recently the switch of a point of sale, then everything is new, but the business has to go on. And so what's your kind of top 3 lessons learned when you switch to a new system? How to manage that the best possible, but there will be, would you agree, you know, the saying, it has to get worse before it gets better, is always true when you introduce a new system, because it will pay off in the long run.
Yeah, if it's, I mean, if you're having a hard time, if it's extremely difficult, you know you're doing the right thing. So I would say top three things. So one of them, you might not be able to control it, but we all know when our slow time is. You know, we don't want it to be slow. We try to not have slow time, but
Right.
number one thing is try to plan it around the slow time. I implemented auto vitals. Yeah, 1 minute, 1 minute. I implemented auto vitals during slow time. I implemented our new software during a slow time. We changed marketing during slow time. You know, I try to work around that. It just makes it easier. You don't want to be changing something in the middle of July when you're booked out 3 weeks. It's just going to be a nightmare, and then you're going to give up. That's number one. Number two, I would say, is whoever's implementing the new software, whether it's the owner, the manager, one of those writers, they need to know how the software works really well before you can't just wing it. With Auto Vitals, I was practicing on it 6 weeks before we went live. With the new software, I had it 2 months before we went live, you know. And you still, when you go live, you're gonna have problems. You just are. And you just work through them. And number three, I would say, I wrote all my stuff down here. Like you said, Uwe, it's gonna get harder before it gets easier, and just being aware of that and accepting of that is key. You know, don't expect anything to be easy. You'll be disappointed, and it's not going to work. And don't be a victim either. You know, don't, oh, this sucks, and throw your hands up. You got to focus on what you're doing when you're implementing the software, whatever software it may be. And you got to work on one thing at a time. So if you encounter a problem, figure that problem out and then move to the next one. Because I guarantee you're going to have multiple problems a day. Just like, how do we do this? Or how do we do that? Or this is different than we did it before. And don't expect it to be the same. It's going to be different. So
Yeah, I got to follow up on that real quick, Christoph. But I also want to get Matt Fowler's point in here. I thought it was brilliant. Is, you know, he says having an internal advocate for Auto Vitals product is key to implementation. So, I mean, how did that work for you? You had like one of your ATECs or a leader in the shop that bought in, and then kind of, you know, everybody else followed.
It was me.
Okay, great.
No one except my dad believed in it. When we implemented it, one of my service advisors, Rochelle, she was a believer in it, but it was hard. And okay, sorry, I'm getting my kid more milk.
No worries, buddy.
It was, you know, it was difficult, but like I said earlier in the beginning of this, it's all about consistency. You just keep at it. And you don't quit. And it might take longer for some shops. It might take shorter. It just really depends. But you just keep that consistency level very high, and you just keep doing it. But slowly people will buy in.
Yeah, well, and the proof is in the paycheck, right? The proof is in the paycheck. You know, I'm waiting for somebody to make some kind of a deal with their staff that says, you know what, we're going to do it like this. You're going to commit to this amount of time, and then I'm going to get 10% of the increase in your wage, you know, in your paycheck, as the commission for driving the thing through, right? And put those naysayers in their place.
Yeah.
Same here. He had the exact same experience.
Yeah, and you're not going to get around that. That's not going to go away. I don't know. There might be shops where everyone buys in. It's not possible. It goes back to expectations. Don't expect everyone to buy into it. You got to be an advocate for it, and you just got to keep at it. You know, it was the same with our new POS software. It's all cloud-based. It's a lot harder to use. I think I want it to be easier, and there's some ways it is a lot easier, but there's some things about it that it's harder. But there's so much more benefits to it, just like with Auto Vital. There's so many more benefits, and you just got to look at that. You got to look at the positive, not the negative.
Yeah, and it seems, you know, if you're doing it right, the negative stays for a short amount of time. The positive lasts a long time, right?
Yeah.
which is done correctly. And, you know, speaking of that, the other follow-up I wanted to ask you is because you had mentioned and you wrote in your notes about no band-aid fixes, and you had said that, you know, you're going to have these problems that erupt, you know, all day, every day, and you got to kind of, you know, knock them out, put the fire out, and move on, put the fire out, and move on. How do you ensure you're not putting a band-aid on that fire? And you know, can you be more specific about, you know, a situation where, you know, you could have put, what is a band-aid fix in your, you know, estimation, and how do you avoid doing that? How do you get the time, carve out the time, or empower and make responsible team members so that you can make sure that you're not putting those band-aids in place?
So mainly what I was talking about band-aid fix was on the car, correct? So, but as far as like, are you talking about like software? No band-aid fix on the software, or like if you run it,
you know, in the process. I didn't realize when you wrote it in there, you were
yeah,
talking.
no, that totally makes sense. So,
I don't want band-aids on my car.
so it was tough in the beginning. I saw a question pop out. What software did we pick? We picked, we went with Shopware. And in the beginning, there was a lot of band-aids, you know, there was like, oh, how do we do a counterattack? It's like, oh, I don't know. Let's figure it out. Let's do it this way for now until we figure it out. So yeah, there was a ton of that stuff. Also, when we went with the new Auto Vitals TVPX, it was different, and I got that a lot. There was a lot of like, well, how do we do this, or how do we do that? And it's like, well, let's do it this way for now until I figure it out, you know. And instead of like trying to figure it out, but like you said, I would do one thing at a time. So I'm trying to think of examples, and there's probably 100, but I can't think of any right now. So
that's all right. Bill says running a repair shop is great training to be a parent. You learn how to juggle many things at once.
yeah.
And that really is the key, right?
Yeah.
For adoption and implementation is because, like you said in the beginning, you do have to wear all those hats. You have to be the IT expert and the software expert and the training expert and the boss and, you know, and the auditor, and you have to kind of do all of those things. And again, if you look at yourself as almost like a sports coach, right, is if you drill those fundamentals, right, the pros still run bases, they still run laps, they still play catch, you know, they still practice blocking, you know, fundamental to their positions. But they reinforce that regularly for a reason, because it develops that muscle memory, and then it takes away. And, you know, you had said something earlier too, that I wanted to touch on. And that was that you said, you know, a lot of shop owners want more time away from the shop, but really, don't you think that that's the way you get that more time away from the shop is what you're doing? Empower your team, provide them the tools they need to be successful, and then get out of the way and let them be successful. And then you don't have to be in there watching over their shoulder as much, right?
Yeah. So, and also when it comes to Auto Vitals and our new POS stuff, it's all cloud-based. So I can be in a different country and run the shop.
You can let your son run it.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I do have that freedom. I am lucky. I do have amazing people that I entrust to run the shop. I can step away when I want and need be. However, I do enjoy being at the shop, and I think being there for my people, you know, when I am present, and I think focusing on helping your team really buys you that freedom in the long term.
Definitely. You know, I know Christoph's got to cut out about 5 minutes early. And so we got about 10 more minutes with them. And I wanted to jump in, if we can, change gears a little bit and talk about specific best practices by workflow step, because I thought you put some brilliant stuff in here. And I really want to get that into the show. You know, regarding drop off, you said that the deferred work.
Do you want me to show simply Christoph's TVPX? Christoph, is that okay? And then you just go through the steps?
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
so, drop off.
While Uwe's bringing that up, you know, you said that the deferred work has gone over with the customer at drop off. So you have a process and it's built into like the drop off script, but you usually have the parts ready in case they say yes. And I thought that was,
Yeah, so it depends, and it really depends, you know, I don't want a lot of, we don't want return, you don't want to order a bunch of parts and return them, but my advisors will sometimes order the part, you know, and try to sell it in the doorway. Our new software is really cool. It'll show the deferred work and they can click on it and approve it, you know, on a tablet. And then if they approve it, it just, everything gets approved and then it's all instant in Auto Vitals and then we can dispatch it. Super, super easy. We do have a lot of steps in Auto Vitals. As you can see, I think we have 9 total. And the key, once again, I try to make things simple. You know, when we were first starting, I just, the key, it's like a game, gamify it. The key is to get all the cars to the right side.
Yes.
You know, you want to get everything over there. You want to,
Tetris,
you know,
stack them up.
yeah, it's like Tetris. So you want to get everything over there. That's the end goal. And that's, you know, if you look at it that way, that's key.
Yeah,
It's
because
like
I even thought
it's like
of,
a beehive, right? Goes from left to right.
yeah,
Ideally.
Yes.
yes, the busy bees moving the blocks. But I thought of a gamification idea when you were talking about you know, having those parts ready. And, you know, because really what it says is you could actually put that on the rider. The rider is so confident that I can sell this to this customer that I'm going to go ahead and have the parts on the shelf. Right. And so you could even do a thing where, you know, they kind of put their money where their mouth is. They get a additional incentive or an additional commission on success, and they pay for the return if they fail.
I'm sure they're listening to me right now at the shop.
Exactly.
I guarantee it. And they're, yeah, that's a good idea.
Hey. Yeah. Now the competition is beginning.
Yes.
But see, no, I think that's brilliant. I really thought that was a great practice, you know, and if you can adopt that and put some numbers around it and put a bar against it, you know, put some goal, you know, having the parts on the shelf waiting. It's not in case they say yes, it's when they say yes.
It's when they say yes. Yeah. I wrote on my thing I sent you in case, I meant to say when they say yes.
Yeah, exactly. There is no.
Christoph,
And I really like the fact, you know,
Oh,
Auto
right.
Vitals sends the appointment reminder with the old inspection and the stuff that they deferred. So I don't really know if they look at that, but or I don't think we track. I don't think there's a way to track if they look at that, you know, but I'm assuming it helps because we have more deferred work sold at the door than we did 2 years ago. So
Yeah, see, exactly. Yeah, and it shows in the numbers. And you know, your service writers are amazing. You know, if I can just throw that out there. They're not even paying me to say that, but because, you know, two things happen, right? Is you, from your after conference, you guys put your picture policy in place, and it was pretty steep. I don't remember what it was, how many pictures per inspection you're requiring, but your writers run like an 80% edit rate. And
yeah,
so you have a high number of pictures per inspection and an incredibly high number of edits. And I just wanted to make sure I A, recognize that, and B, get you to talk a little bit about that. How fundamental is that to your success in driving that, you know, 5 build hours per ticket and being able to maintain that? That's incredible.
so that is all them. I told them that I wanted it higher, you know, or over 50, and that was, I'd probably say 90% of that was them. They just did it after the conference. I always wanted them to edit more, and I was always bugging them, you know, let's edit more pictures. But after the conference, they just, I wish I could say like I did this to have them do that for other shops to have their advisors, but my advisors they just started doing it. So I would give them the credit on that one.
Yeah, so that's the first key takeaway is have amazing advisors.
Yes. Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. Because yeah, you know, it's not easy, right? Especially when you're busy, but obviously what's happened is you've had enough results, right? You've gotten enough of the payoff to say, hey, we can't skip this step because that's the bread and butter. And when you get that type of an attitude, when you build that type of an expectation, you know, you don't skip putting the ketchup on your fries, right? No matter how busy you are.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it goes back to also, I mean, we only do about 25 to 30 cars a week. I'd like to obviously, you know, do 35 cars a week, but we do have that time with 2 advisors. You know, they're working 15 cars. If you do the numbers on a busy week, they might be doing 3 cars a day. I mean, realistically, in the real world, most of those cars are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But we set the expectation the car's going to be there a few days, you know, 2 to 3 days. We tell all of our customers that.
Yeah.
If, you know, their check engine light's on, and it helps buy time to get the work done that's needed. That way, if they need work, it's not like, oh, I can't leave my car there. But you've solved the problem of them needing their car by setting that expectation up front. And sometimes customers don't like to hear it, but it goes back to that transparency thing. I'm not going to lie and say like, oh, we can get you out in a day when you know you're not going to be able to get parts for 2, you know, you just set it up front. You do whatever you can to keep the car there a couple days and let the customer know exactly how the process is going to go.
Yeah, because that's another question that I had for you, because that's another challenge, right? To run in high average build hours per ticket. You know, you get up into the 6-hour range, that car's staying overnight, no doubt about it. It might stay 2 days, like you said, right? Well,
yeah,
a lot of people, that's a big fear. People don't, you know, you got to overcome that. Yeah, you can offer loaners, but at the same time, it's not the same, right? It's not my car. Is there advice you can give to folks that want to achieve something like that, but get a lot of, or maybe don't have the procedures and policies in place to allow them to get that customer, you know, to hand over the keys for 2 days?
It comes down to sales. It strictly comes down to sales. You gotta sell your process to the customer. They're not gonna want to leave their car there. It's difficult, you know, and it's the easy route is to say it's not going to take that long unless you know it isn't. That's the easy way out. As a service advisors, you know, you're selling yourself, you're selling the shop, you're selling your process. Yeah, it takes long sometimes, especially with a new customer. You might be on the phone an extra 5 minutes selling your process. But that extra 5 minutes is going to pay off in the long run. You're going to have the car there for 3 days or 2 days or whatever. You can't accommodate everything. You're going to have those customers where they need it. You're not going to be able to get around some of them, but it really comes down to how your advisor sells your shop to the customer. That's what it really comes down to. It's sales. It's sales 101. And if you can't, it's just easy to say like, oh, we don't have customers that want to leave their cars. Yeah, that's the easy way out. You know, you can't. Yeah.
You know, we only got you for a couple more minutes. Uwe, is there anything that you wanted to cover? Because the last, I want to try to get the pickup, and what they're doing at pickup in there also, automatically scheduling.
Yeah, let's do the pickup because we're really.
Yeah, we're pinched for time. So tell us.
Yeah.
About
So pickup. And I can stay till 11. I just gotta. My son's. The bell rings at like 11:10. School's only like 5 minutes away, but cool. Just letting you know.
No, I appreciate it.
Go get him. Actually, you know what? My wife is working from home today, and she has 15 minutes. She said she can go pick my son up, so that's amazing. Right. So, give me 1 second. Let me get that set up really quick.
Sure. Take your time.
Sure.
We've got 5 more minutes.
There's gonna be a lot of traffic, so. You're gonna walk to go get him? I would leave. I would leave like right now then. Yeah, you can leave him. Can you get him more milk? So, sorry about that. It froze. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. Yeah, the video.
Okay, cool. So
yeah,
pickup. For pickup,
let me see. Usually, so customers come in and we'll go over everything we did to the car. You know, you have to resell that work. You know, we don't just hand the key over. We go over what we did, what we found. And with our existing customers kind of know the procedure and what we do, what's going to happen. New customers, we tell them, hey, we're going to call you in 3 days. We're going to send you a letter at 30 days. We actually haven't been doing our 30-day letters, but we typically will send a letter at 30 days with recommended repair work, you know, like deferred work. We'll handwrite it.
Yeah,
And then we call every single customer using we used to do it manually, like type out all the customers that were, yeah. But now we don't, sorry, I got super distracted.
you're talking about the 30-day letters.
Yeah.
Handwriting.
So, we don't really do that much, but we do tell them that we're going to call them in 3 days. And actually, recently, so it's new. We started a couple months ago. And again, it was hard to get that working, and there were bugs that we had to figure out. We started using Auto Vitals software to do the 3-day callbacks. And, you know, in the CRM, there's a feature you can see like who picked up. And with our new software, when we implemented.
That's good. And so you had mentioned in there that you're automatically start the next appointment. Are you doing that? So you're doing that in Shopware. You're putting them on the calendar, and
it's in. We do that in Auto Vital. So when after we do the quality control, and this is a feature request that I'm going to make to you guys.
Nice.
Right now it's set at 6 months or a year. The cars we're going 7,500 miles between oil services. Most of our customers, it's about 8 months. That's what we do our sticker for, 8 months or 7,500 miles. And right now you can only do 6 months or a year. So we're doing the 6-month feature where they get a thing at 6 months. It would be nice to be able to set it custom to like 8 months or 9 months or whatever as a shop you're doing, but that's my feature request for you guys. But yeah, we do inform them that we'll be letting them know on their next appointment. And that we use Auto Vitals. We don't use our POS software. It's all done through Auto Vitals.
Can I put a bug in your ear, Christoph?
Yes.
Have you thought about doing a condition-based schedule, meaning throw the service interval out and instead give them an inspection interval as coming back?
Like inspection every 6 months. Our marketing is revolved around that. You know, we do free, and all of our inspections are free. But no, I haven't really pushed for that.
So the idea is basically
that is a good idea.
You know, whatever since you're in Euro, there's a lot of reminders on the dashboard, right? And you run partially the risk that your customers see that as an OEM feature and you're just doing the work when the car tells you to, right? Whereas an inspection condition-based schedule will basically say, look, we go way beyond whatever the service reminder on the dashboard is because we look at your tires and whatever else. And we would love to do that on a regular basis. And as long as you follow our recommendation that comprehensive health inspection is going to be complimentary, right? And so you basically go into a mode of, we have the ability to determine the condition of the vehicle and we would love to do that. And then now you tell me the number twice a year or whatever is, you know, in order on the right.
Yeah, and there might even be a faster interval on specific systems like braking. You're in the mountains, they're hitting their brakes a lot. People, somebody lives up on the top of some peak, like Uva's house, right? Uva probably has to have his brakes checked, weekly, the road he has to drive down to his new house.
That's why I bought a
We
Toyota
do
truck,
have-
you know.
That's right, man.
We do have customers that, yeah, we see them. I have one customer who's rough road. I probably see her every 3 months. There's just trash every time.
Yeah. He's riding.
But that's a good idea. I did not even.
Uh-oh, I think the internet is gone for Christoph.
I think what he was saying is, Tom, that was a brilliant idea, and
Oh, yeah, of course.
thank you tremendously, and I owe you all my success to you. I'm just paraphrasing. Bill says twice a year, full vehicle health inspection, condition-based inspection. Lots of things can happen in 6 months. Yeah. And every 90 days if they have lots of rodents. Okay, there you go. So if you live in
Good
a
idea.
infested, corner of the world, you get more inspections. Dude, I thought it was brilliant how Christoph was pumped about no more combustion engine cars. We're gonna go Cuba third world style. That was brilliant. That made me laugh.
So, I mean, it's not gonna get over time. I'm at the 15 years, but as a repair facility, I mean, the opportunity is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Oh, Eli, we lost him again. But that's it, folks. We're at the top of the hour. Appreciate you tuning in. It was a great show. Told you it would be. Tune in next Wednesday, same time, same place. We're going to be talking about it again. I think we're going to try to focus on average weekly revenue. We've got a great show coming up with a great shop owner that we haven't had on, I don't believe, on Digital Shop Talk Radio. We're pinning him down for end of the month, I think the 31st, where we're going to be talking revenue. So tune in, bring your friends, especially anybody who is looking to improve their results, not just from Auto Vitals, but from, running their shop as a digital shop and really incorporating a lot of the best practices that we, as a community are learning and sharing. And this is a great way to get that out in recorded format so that more people can learn. We can help even more folks. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much, Uwe. Christoph, you were amazing, buddy. I knew you would be.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you coming
Thanks.
on. Yeah, man.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry, I
Multitasking.
was a little all over the place, but
No, you were great, buddy.
No, you were great.
I
Always.
sent you guys that document. You're free to share that if you want with other
Thank you,
people.
bud. Thank you. Go take care of them babies. You're a good dad.
Yes, thank you.
You're a good dad.
We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, buddy. Thank you. All right,
Bye.
everybody go make some more money. Put all of that knowledge into practice and go do it.